Welcome back to the lunch counter, and a little bit of a chat now on what is likely, well, obviously food additives. It's been a long time since I've been to a place where fries are served, and I found a fry in the back seat of my car, so it's been there for a long time, but it looked edible.
They don't go bad.
Why are we okay putting that in our bodies, do we think? It can't be good for us.
Economic drivers. The reality of most food additives is it's how we keep them longer and make them cheaper. That's the reality. They have a very good the chemical world has a very good understanding of what we like, how our taste buds work, how our brain centers work, and they shove chemicals in there that make that happen. You know, my aunt has a company that manufactures food in Saskatchewan, and we have this conversation. You know, we have to put this in, we can't put that in, and it's fascinating what you can do with vegetables and radiation and food additives. Now, there's a whole whack of food additives that are wonderful, but if you're talking about the French fry, it's cost and taste.
Wow.
Don't go bad.
We're a preserved society. We're eating so many preservatives that our body is being preserved while we're alive. It's amazing stuff. To the fact that we have so many foods in our life that insects won't eat, that mold and fungus won't eat. That
it's not food.
It's not food that you can leave on your counter for years and look exactly the same. The meat doesn't go bad, the buns don't go bad, the fries are still the same color.
Cereal.
It's really quite amazing that this is considered food. And then when I talk about real unpasteurized fermented food, like a proper kombucha or real yogurt, that is seen as, oh yeah, but there's bacteria in it. Well, this doesn't even let the bacteria come near it. It's really quite amazing why that this is accepted.
And it's interesting, European labeling laws we all just need to write your MLA or your MP and say, adopt all of Europeans' food labeling laws tomorrow morning, please. Because it is such a difference. It's really quite it's disappointing. It doesn't take a lot of education to show people, you know, what this does. It's really not that complicated. And yet, we have it. You know, we are so far behind our labeling laws in Canada on what's in our food. But I just tell people, take it, like the yogurt, take it, put it on the counter. If it don't go bad, it ain't food. Don't eat it.
And if the food says it's healthy, it probably isn't.
Probably not.
Broccoli will never talk about how full of nutrients it is, but a food that's been processed, like that yogurt that has the omega-3s added in, is going to scream, I'm full of omega-3s. The yogurts that are full of the swine and rat bacteria scream they're a probiotic yogurt. They tell you what it is. Whenever that happens, that's a red flag. That is a processed food, just in and of itself, because real food never talks about itself. It never tells you how good it is for you.
Here in the Okanagan, we're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
We have the biggest farmers market outside of Vancouver, something like that. We have a ton of local little farmers markets around. We have all sorts of people pushing out natural honeys, like you know, an unpasteurized local honey. Go buy it. That's the stuff.
Pastured eggs, that cardboard egg sign, then you drive past, that's where you get nutritional gold.
You know, the BC government's made it much harder for small farmers to sell their own grown meats, to have, you know, make a cow and sell the cow. They've made it quite difficult, but hopefully it comes back around where you can do that as well. You know, this whole 100-mile diet thing, it's not super easy to do, and I'm not a super fan of it, but it is how you get around this. You know, you take, like I talk to people about food cures, and I normally tell people, you know, in 6 months you're going to be a different human being. But it's 6 months, folks. And, you know, we really have that option to start with something small, go to the farmer's market once a month and try something you've never seen before. Say, how do I cook this thing, man? Oh, okay, I try that.
Go on the internet.
It tastes terrible,
It's easy to find how to, but you have to buy it first.
Yeah. The big thing people are always asking me, most people want it better now or sooner. This
Which
isn't
is
how,
my mentality.
Well, and
Yeah,
you're welcome
absolutely.
to that. I like
It's
people
a hard mentality to get by, though. Instant gratification, right?
Yeah, you know, it's a long race. You know, as I get more gray hair, I get more conservative. And I tell people, pick something. Like this year, my personal goal this year is I'm having 4 fruits a day. You know, I used to eat. I'm a chef by trade. In the early days, I was a chef. Cut off this some, they sewed it back on. I love Western medicine, but I'm done with cooking. But you know, you eat terrible in the kitchen. You eat terrible. You know, any chef knows. So when I got out, I started having 2 vegetables a day, and then 3, and then 4. Now I'm on to fruits. You know, that's how you do it. You just pick something this 6 months. I'm going to have 1 more vegetable a day that rots, or has some brown spots, or it isn't perfect. and you will be a very healthy puppy in 6 months.
And that's how I changed my diet, and it took me 6 years. And somebody might say to me, well, you can't tell people to take that long. Well, I did it, and my diet's changed. If I hadn't made each of those itty-bitty, seemingly small steps, and sometimes with 6 months in between them, I wouldn't have gotten here. And now here, I feel so much better. And it just takes, and they seemed seemingly insignificant, but in the grand scheme of things, they were huge. But I'm not on a diet. When you're on a diet, the only thing you can do is go off that diet. That's it. But when this is how you eat, it's impossible to go backwards. You could never feed me what I ate before, because I wouldn't survive a day. I couldn't have a breakfast. I couldn't even survive a meal, to be honest.
It's funny, once you get healthy, and you know, I was at a workshop and everybody went to Wendy's. I know. And I went to Wendy's and I had the big hamburger and onion rings and a milkshake. Oh, I thought I was going to die the next day.
The food hangovers are
amazing.
amazing.
Man, once you get healthy and you go, you jump into that toxic soup, although I thought it tasted wonderful at the time, you notice it, like it does, you have no tolerance for garbage anymore.
But the thing is I've heard from many people, I don't want to be healthy because I still want to eat junk food and not feel like you do. My answer to that is that my food hangover, when I have the junk food and I feel awful, that's how most people feel all the time. I just have to walk into it every once in a while. I see the difference. I'm like, no, siree, Bob.
But don't we, I would say that most people know that eating that kind of food isn't good for you.
I would bet a lot of money on that you're incorrect.
I would say, no, I'd say you're right.
Oh, I'm willing to make some money on this.
The problem is that we don't know how to, and it's hard to change our habits. So we feel, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat this. Well, that puts a big strain and weight, and then all we want to do is eat chocolate, because now we're stressed about not wanting to eat chocolate. Or we're driving down the road and our blood sugar crashes and we just go into a drive-through. If we solve the blood sugar issue, then you no longer have that craving. So it's about finding balance.
Yeah. Well, a key for me has just been really, like you suggested when we were doing a story with you, was just to carry some better for me things around.
Yes.
You know, I always make sure to have a couple apples and maybe some nuts and, granola in a bag, just so I can eat that instead of eating a whole chocolate bar like I would have. Now, quick little blip it on, if you could each have a quick message to folks about taking their health as a really important aspect of their life, what would you say? Word.
Jim Rohn says, you only have one body in this lifetime, take care of it, or you'll find out what it's like not to. People have got, I spent 5 years in 24-hour days screaming pain, banging my head against the floor. I thought, if I would have known I could have killed myself, I'd shot myself on the spot. It wasn't worth living. And I'm very lucky in the fact I always figured there has to be a way out of this. I just feel there's a solution to the problem. If I'm breathing, there is a solution. You have to maintain that there's a solution. And when you go to people and they say it's all in your head or there's nothing you can do, you're just too broken, you have to hear them telling you, I don't know what to do for you, buddy. You have to understand that person doesn't have your answer, and that's okay. They need to buck up and say, I don't have a clue. Like, I personally refer somebody out of my clinic at least every week, at least. I have a Rolodex of practitioners in this town. There's a ton of good folks in this town, and some of them are good at this, and I am not. I would send people to you if you lived here, because while I have the degree...
Peachland.
I thought you lived in Peachland. You work here as well?
Well, I have offices up and down.
Okay, well now I'm going to... okay. Because I don't like doing diet stuff anymore. I did it, I've done it, it's wonderful. I'm on to the next toy, but there's a solution to your problem. Find that person, that thing, those people that can do it for you. That's it. Don't ever take it's your fault. It is your problem. It is my problem. If I got a broken leg, it's my problem. I need to find someone who can rehab that leg. And there are people out there that can fix a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, I spent 8 years in oncology at a retreat center. People die. You can get broken. It's difficult. It's difficult. But by and large, if there's breath, there's hope. You have to work with that. You have to. And for God's sakes, if you're going to the same person 3 times a week for 6 weeks, do yourself a favor. Do something else, folks.
Yeah. Lisa?
I would say to not underestimate the power that we have to create health. I work in food, so I feel food personally is one of the most important things that we can do. Stress reduction is also a big one. Exercise is a big one. But food acts upon our body 3 to 5 times a day. Every single time we pick up something and eat it, it comes into our body, it creates tissues, it creates cells. And don't underestimate the power of that, and to look at how food makes you feel. When you have this for lunch, how do you feel later? When you have this for breakfast, how do you feel later? You're either going to get positive or negative feedback from that, and that can help this ball going forward if you are really honest with yourself. But don't underestimate that power. It's quite amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. It was great.
Thank you.